Mysteries!
Hello and welcome to a brand new and ever so exciting episode of More on Math Minecraft Mysteries. My name is Mr. Moore, and you can see my flower garden behind me. Let's take a look. I have two flower plots in my flower garden. This flower plot is nearly all planted. In fact, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 8 parts of this flower garden has been planted. So 7/8 of this flower plot has been planted. Let's take a look at my second plot here. Oh, this one's easy to see. Half of this flower plot has also been planted. My question is, how much more of this flower plot has been planted than this flower plot? It's a mystery. In fact, it's today's Minecraft mystery. And whenever we have a mystery, we go quick to the math cave. Oh, the math cave is too far away. We need warp speed. The math cave. Ah, splash. Our Minecraft mystery of the day is, I have 2 flower plots. 7/8 of my first plot is planted with flowers. 1/2 of my second plot is also planted with flowers. How much more of the first plot is planted with flowers? Pause the video, solve the problem, and come on back when you think you have a solution. Welcome back. So, I have 2 flower plots. One of them is 7/8 of the way planted. The other one is half of the way planted. I want to know how much more of the first flower plot has been planted with flowers. That sounds tough. And when math gets tough, we go quick to the magical whiteboard. Push to activate. Pow! Woo! Let's make a list of what we know. 7/8 of our first flower plot has been planted. 1/2 of our second flower plot has been planted. And my question is, how much more of the first plot has been planted than the second plot? I think I need to draw a picture to figure out what's going on here. So here are our 2 flower plots. The first one, I need to show that 7/8 of it is planted. First I break it into 8s, then I shade 7 of those 8s. Now I need to show that 1/2 of the second flower plot has been planted. And I do that by cutting it into 2 pieces and shading 1 of those 2 pieces. So here's a picture of my 2 flower plots. Now I want to figure out how much more of this plot has been planted than this plot. Well, you know what? Whenever I want to figure out how much more or how much less, whenever I'm asked any of those types of questions, that is a what's the difference problem. And whenever I want to know what the difference is, it's a subtraction problem. And I know because we're being asked how much more. All right, now that we know it's a subtraction problem, let's set up our numerical expression. That numerical expression is 7/8 minus 1/2. Before I get started, I want to do a quick estimate. Again, with small numbers, it's pretty tough. So I'm going to try to stick to whole numbers or use halves if I need to. So let me set up an estimate here. 7/8 is almost 1 whole, so I'm going to call it 1 whole. And 1/2 is just 1/2, so I'm going to keep it as a half. And I know that 1 whole minus 1/2, well, a half plus a half is a whole, so 1 minus 1/2 would just be that extra half. So I know my answer is going to be close to 1/2. Today I'm going to do the problem 2 different ways. I'm going to use the standard algorithm, and I'm also going to use the picture I've already drawn to figure out the answer. Let's get started. In this episode, I'll begin with the standard algorithm and then come back to the picture. So I have 7/8 minus 1/2. Notice my denominators are different, which means I'm talking about different types of pieces. And that doesn't work too well. So I want to get the same types of pieces. To get the same types of pieces with fractions, I need to find a common denominator that will work for both of these fractions. To do that, I need to list multiples of both of my denominators. So I'm going to start by listing multiples of 2. Those multiples would be 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Now I always start by listing the multiples of the smaller looking denominator. In this case it's the 2. It looks smaller even though it's not. Because when I skip count, sometimes I'll hit that other denominator. And in fact, in this case I do. 2, 4, 6, 8. Well, I know that 8 will work for 2's and 8 will also work for 8 because the first multiple of 8 is 8. And so I know I can use a common denominator of 8 to rewrite both of these fractions as equivalent fractions. So let's set that up. So I have something over 8 minus something over 8. Well, 7/8 is already in 8, so I can just leave that there, 7/8. And the question is, how do I get from halves to eighths? Well, we learned with fractions before this that I can change the name of any fraction into an equivalent fraction by multiplying the numerator and denominator by a common factor, any common number you can think of. As long as you do the same to the bottom and the top, you can change the name of your fraction without changing its value. So in this case, I've already done that to get from the 2 to the 8. All I got to do is figure out how did I get from 2 to 8 using either multiplication or division. Well, 2 times 4 is 8. So to get from 2 to 8, I multiply by 4. So I have to do the same to the top. And so 1 times 4 is just 4. Now I have 7/8 minus 4/8, which I can totally handle. That's like saying 7 apples minus 4 apples. And 7/8 minus 4/8 is 3/8. So let's take a look at our picture now. I have 7/8 in this picture and 1/2 in this picture, and I want to know how much more of this garden, of this plot, was planted than this plot. So I want to take this much out of this picture. Well, that's pretty simple here. If I look at this picture carefully, I can see that this is half of my green flower plot. To show it a little clearer, I'll add some lines over here. When I add these lines, I can quickly see that 1/2 is the same as 1, 2, 3, 4/8. So if I want to know how much more of this garden was planted, I need to subtract 4/8 from this garden. So I'm just going to do 1 in each garden to show that it matches. So if I took 1/8 away from this one, I'd have to take 1/8 from here. If I take 1/8 from there, I'd have to take 1/8 from there. If I take 1/8 from there, I'd have to take 1/8 from there. And if I took 1/8 from there, I'd have to take 1/8 from there. Whatever I have left is the difference. It is my answer. It's how much more of this garden was planted. And as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3 out of 8 pieces left. So my answer over here would be 3/8. Now in both cases I got 3/8, which is a good sign, but is it reasonable? Well, let's take a look. Is 3/8 close to 1/2? Yes, it is, because another name for 1/2 is 4/8. And having 4 out of 8 things is really close to having 3 out of 8 things. So I know my answer is reasonable. But my answer is not complete because it wasn't what fraction or anything like that. It was how much of the first flower plot was planted. So my final answer will be 3/8 of a flower plot. And so once again, our mystery has been solved. And that solution is 3/8 of a flower plot more. Mystery, bam, solved. Don't forget your labels. So let's prove it. Oh no, it's night out. Dare we do it? No, let's go to bed first. Betty bye, let's go to Betty bye. Snoozy, snooze, snoozy, snooze. Sleepy, sleepy, snoozy. All right, let's go back. Let's go prove that our answer is 3/8 of a flower plot. But first we need to get way over there, so we need warp speed. Okay, so here we are back at my flower garden. And I have 7/8 of this flower plot planted and half of this flower plot planted. I want to know how much more of this one is planted than this one. Well, a really easy way to prove this is just start taking things off of both flower plots in the same manner. So I'm going to pick this flower. And because I picked that one, I'm going to pick this flower. And I'm going to come over here and pick this flower. And then I'm going to pick this one. I'm keeping it even, keeping it even. Pick this flower. Pick this flower, okay. And I'm going to pick this flower. And I'm going to pick this flower. Now, as I look at my flower plot, I see that 1, 2, 3 of the 8 spaces are still planted with flowers. So this flower plot indeed had 3/8 of a flower plot more that was planted, because this one now has nothing. So our mystery has not only been solved, it's been proven. Thank you for joining me for this episode of More on Math Minecraft Mysteries. Leave a comment or a question below. Feel free to subscribe. Join me next time for another amazing and marvelous mystery in the world of Minecraft. And remember, if you're never confused, you're never learning. Bye-bye.
Math is fun. Math is fun.